Determine the vertex, focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry of the parabola with equation x squared equals 8y, and then sketch the graphic.
Fat Math, the right path to develop the fat brain that you've got. Hello everyone and welcome to Fat Math TV.
In this video, we will have finding the vertex, the opening, the foci, directrix, and axis of symmetry of a parabola given its equation. So parabolas are, or a parabola is a set of all points whose distances from a fixed point and a fixed line is or are equal. For example, a point here on the parabola has a certain distance from a point, and its distance from this line is also the same as the distance from the point. So that's the defining characteristic of a parabola. So in a parabola, this fixed point is called the focus of the parabola, and this fixed line is called the directrix of the parabola. Okay. Standard equations of parabolas with vertex at hk. So from the defining characteristic of the parabola, we can derive the following standard equations. So if the parabola opens upward, then its equation is x minus h, quantity squared, equals 4c times y minus k, where hk is the vertex and c is the distance between the focus and the vertex. Or it can also be the distance from the vertex to the directrix, because they are equal. And the vertex of the parabola is the lowest point if it's opening upward, and then if it's opening downward, that's the highest point. If the parabola opens downward, you will get a negative number here. And then if the parabola opens to the right, you will have y minus k squared equals 4c times x minus h. And then if it opens to the left, it's just a negative here. So if you look at the equations, if x is being squared and y is not, the parabola either opens upward or downward. And then the sign of the number here tells you if it opens upward or downward. If it's positive, it opens upward. If it's negative, it opens downward. On the other hand, if y is being squared, the parabola either opens to the right or to the left. If it's positive here, it opens to the right, and if it's negative, it opens to the left. And then, if you can see at the opening, the focus is always where the parabola opens, and the directrix on the other side of the parabola. If the parabola opens downward, the focus is also down the vertex. And then the directrix is also there on top. So the directrix and the focus of the parabola are on the different sides of the parabola. Here, the parabola opens to the right, so the focus is to the right of the vertex. And if the parabola opens to the left, the focus is to the left of the vertex. And then, as what you can see here, h is always with x. H is always with x. And k is always with y. So you have to remember these four equations so that you will know how to identify the vertex, focus, and others. Also, if you're asked to find the equation given certain conditions, you have to familiarize yourself with these four equations. So C is the distance between the vertex and the focus, or it is also the distance between the vertex and the directrix. If the parabola has vertex at the origin or at 0, 0, then the equations simplify to these ones. X squared equals 4cy. We don't have h and k here because h and k are both equal to 0. So x squared equals 4cy if it opens upward. If it opens downward, x squared equals negative 4cy. If it opens to the right, y squared equals 4cx. And if it opens to the left, y squared equals negative 4cy. Let us have an example. Determine the vertex, focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry of the parabola with equation x squared equals 8y, and then sketch the graph. So the axis of symmetry of the parabola divides the parabola into two parts, one a reflection of the other. So it's also like a line of symmetry. Okay, so our equation is x squared equals 8y. So x is being squared, and then it's a positive on the right side here. So the parabola opens upward, and we don't have minus h and minus k here, so the vertex is 0, 0. So the parabola with vertex at 0, 0 here and opens upward. So approximately the graph looks like that. And then x squared equals 4cy is the standard equation. So this 4c is equal to 8. So x squared equals 4cy, but x squared is 8. So this 8 is the 4c. So if 4c is equal to 8, divide both sides by 4, you will get c equals 2. And c equals 2 is the distance from the vertex to the focus, or from the vertex to the directrix. So if c is 2, then the focus is 2 units upward. So 2 units above 0, 0. So 2 units above 0, 0, that is 0, 2. So the focus is at 0, 2. Remember, a focus is a point, so it has to be the coordinates of the point. And the directrix is 2 units downward, 2 units below 0, 0. So that's passing through negative 2 here. So, and the directrix is a line, so you have to give the equation of the line. So the horizontal line, y equals negative 2, is the directrix. So the directrix is a line, so the equation of the line is y equals negative 2. And then for the axis of symmetry, it passes through the vertex perpendicular to the directrix. So it is this line, the purple one. And its equation is x equals 0, or that is simply the y-axis. The equation of the y-axis is x equals 0. So in answering these kinds of problem, you need to identify where the parabola opens, and then identify c, so that you will know how many units you need to move upward or downward to get the focus and the directrix. As for the axis of symmetry, the axis of symmetry passes through the vertex and the focus, and it is perpendicular to the directrix. Let us have another example. Determine the vertex, focus, and directrix and axis of symmetry of the parabola with equation x squared equals negative 4y, and then sketch the graph. So here we have x squared equals negative 4y. X is being squared, and the linear part on the right side is negative. So the parabola opens downward, with of course vertex at 0, 0, because we don't have minus h and minus k here. So the parabola with vertex at 0, 0 that opens downward. And then we need to identify c, so that we will know how many units we move to move downward to get the focus, and upward to get the directrix. So x squared equals negative 4cy. And our given is x squared equals negative 4y. So solving for c, 4c is equal to 4. Because here we get here 4c is equal to 4. So divide both sides by 4, you will get c is equal to 4 over 4, that is 1. So if c is 1, the focus is 1 unit below the vertex. So 1 unit below 0, 0 is 0, negative 1. And then 1 unit above that, you will have y equals positive 1. And for the axis of symmetry, you will still have the y-axis, and its equation is x equals 0. Another example. Example number 3. We have y squared equals 20x. So y is being squared and the right side is positive, so the parabola opens to the right. And the vertex is still at 0, 0, so we have this parabola. And then to solve for c, supposedly the equation is y squared equals 4cx, but instead of 4c, we can see 20 there. So that 20 is 4c. Divide both sides by 4, you will get c equals 20 over 4. That is 5. So you need to move 5 units to the right of the vertex to get the focus. And 5 units to the right of 0, 0 is 5, 0. And then 5 units to the left of 0, 0 is negative 5, 0. But the directrix is a line, so that is a vertical line. And a vertical line with equation x equals negative 5. You have to take note that it has to have an x because this is an equation of a line. You cannot just answer negative 5, but it has to be x equals negative 5. Like in the previous examples, you cannot just answer 2, but it has to be y equals 2, for example, if the line is horizontal. If the line is vertical, it's x equals a constant. And for the axis of symmetry, the line that divides the parabola into two parts, one a reflection of the other, so it has to pass through the vertex and the focus, and that is the x-axis. And its equation is y equals 0. Example number 4. We have y squared equals negative 16x. So y is being squared. The linear part is negative, so the parabola opens to the left. Still, the vertex is at 0, 0. So we have this. Vertex 0, 0 and opens to the left. Solve for c. 4c is 16. Divide both sides by 4. c is 16 over 4, and that is 4. So the focus is 4 units to the right, to the left of 0, 0. That is negative 4, 0. The directrix is 4 units to the right of the vertex, so that will be at x equals positive 4, and the axis of symmetry will still be the x-axis, or that is y equals 0. So in this lesson, you don't need to solve a lot. You just need to divide by 4. And then you have to do the moving of the point and the line. Okay, you move to the left, you move to the right, you move up, and you move down. So you have to know how to identify the coordinates of the points. And of course, the equation of the line. Another example, number 5. This time we have already a k and an h. So y plus 6 squared equals 24 times x plus 3. So here the vertex is no longer at 0, 0, but at a certain point hk. So since y is being squared and we have a positive here on the right, so that is that parabola opens to the right. So the vertex for the h is, we have this one, and for the k we have this one. So here h is negative 3. Okay, if it's a plus here, it has to be negative. If it's a plus, it has to be a negative, because the format of our equation is y minus k squared equals 4c times x minus h. So you have to change the sign of what you see here. So you have negative 3, negative 6. Take note that you always have to write the h first. So negative 3, negative 6. And h is always with x, and k is always with y. So negative 3, 6, negative 6 and opens to the right. So we have that. Negative 3, negative 6 on the third quadrant and opens to the right. Next, solve for C. That's what we can see here. For C is 24. So C is 24 over 4. That is 6. So we have to move 6 units to the right to get the focus. And 6 units to the right of negative 3, negative 6, you just add 6 to negative 3. Negative 3 plus 6, that's positive 3. So your x-coordinate will be positive 3. And the y-coordinate is still negative 6. So we have 3, negative 6. For the directrix, you have to move 6 units to the left. And 6 units to the left of negative 3 is negative 3 minus 6. That is negative 9. And the line x equals negative 9 is the directrix. For the axis of symmetry, that is a line passing through the vertex and the focus. So that is a horizontal line with equation y equals negative 6. Example number 6. We have y squared equals negative 8 times x minus 4. So y is again squared, so it's either to the left or to the right. But it's negative here, so it opens to the left. So our vertex is, as what you can see here, this is our h and k is 0. So h is positive 4 and k is 0. So this is the h and the k here is, there's nothing, so it's 0. So 4, 0 is here. 4, 0. And opens to the right. I mean the left. So opens to the left. So the focus must be to the left. But solve for C first so that you will know how many units you need to move. So 4C is equal to 8. So C is equal to 8 over 4. That is 2. So you need to move 2 units to the left to get the focus. And 2 units to the left of 4, 0 is 2, 2, 0. You just need to subtract 2 from 4. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And then if you move to the right, you add 2 to 4. So that's 4 plus 2. That is 6. So that is a vertical line passing through x equals 6. So the equation is x equals 6. And for the axis of symmetry, the line that passes through the vertex and the focus, that is the x-axis, or the equation is y equals 0. Another example. Determine the vertex, focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry of the parabola with equation x plus 3 squared equals 4y. This time x is squared and the right side is positive. So the parabola opens upward with vertex at negative 3, 0. Negative 3, this is the h, and the k is, there's nothing here, so it's 0. And then, okay, that's negative 3, 0, and opens upward. And solve for C. For C here is 4, so C is equal to 4 over 4, that is 1. So 1 unit above negative 3, 0 is negative 3, 1. And 1 unit below that, you will have y equals negative 1. And the axis of symmetry is x equals negative 3. Number 8. X minus 1 squared equals negative 12 times y plus 2. So, x is being squared. The right side is negative, so the parabola opens downward with vertex at positive 1, negative 2. H is positive 1, k is negative 2. So positive 1, negative 2 is on the fourth quadrant, and the parabola opens downward. So it looks like that. And then, to identify the focus, we need to solve for C. 4C here is 12, so 4C is 12, divided both sides by 4. You will get C equals 12 over 4, that is 3. So 3 units below negative 2, that is negative 2 minus 3, so that is negative 5. So you will have the same x coordinate, that is positive 1. So 1, negative 5. And then 3 units above negative 2, that is negative 2 plus 3, so that is positive 1. So the equation of the directrix is y equals positive 1. And the axis of symmetry is the line that passes through the vertex and the focus, that is x equals 1. Again, if it's a horizontal line, y equals, and then if it's a vertical line, x equals. Another example, this time the given is the general equation, so we need to transform this into standard form. We have here y squared plus 12x minus 2y plus 61 equals 0. So to make this standard form, as what you can observe in the standard equation, the variable being squared is put on the left and the linear one is put on the right. So we need to put y squared and negative 2y to the left and the 12x and 61 to the right. So that's the given. And then y squared has to be on the left and negative 2y. But you have to transfer 12x to the right, so it has to be negative 12x. And the positive 61 will be negative 61. And then you complete the perfect square trinomial. So how do we identify the last term? You take half of this one, half of 2, that is 1. And then square half of it. So the square of 1 is 1. So add 1 to both sides of the equation. And then factor the left side. You will have y squared minus 2y plus 1, that is y minus 1 squared. And then negative 61 plus 1 is negative 60. And then you have to also factor the constant here, the coefficient of x. So the negative 12, you have to factor that. So put it outside. Negative 12x divided by negative 12, that is x. And negative 60 divided by negative 12, that's positive 5. And as what you can see, this is already in standard form. Y is being squared, negative on the right side, so the parabola opens to the left. And then our h and k here are, h is negative 5 and the k is positive 1. So negative 5, 1. So that is on the second quadrant. And then the parabola opens to the left. So to solve for C, 12 is 4C. So 4C equals 12. Divide both sides by 4. C equals 12 over 4. That is 3. So we need to move 3 units to the left to get the focus. So 3 units to the left of negative 5. That is negative 5 minus 3. That's negative 8. And you will have the same y coordinate. So negative 8, 1. And then for the directrix, 3 units to the right of negative 5. So that's negative 5 plus 3. That's negative 2. So x equals negative 2. And for the axis of symmetry, that is y equals 1. Another example. We have here x squared plus 4x minus 16y minus 44 equals 0. So this time x is being squared, so we have to put x on the left and y unconstant to the right. So we will have x squared plus 4x, and the negative 16y, if you transfer to the right, will be positive 16y. And then if you transfer negative 44 to the right, it's going to be positive 44. And then complete the perfect square trinomial. To get the last term, you have to add half of 4. Half of 4 is 2, and then square it. So that is 2 squared, that is 4. So if you add 4 to the left, you have to add 4 to the right. And then factor the left side of the equation. You will get x plus 2 squared equals 16y, and then 44 plus 4 is 48. And then you have to factor the coefficient of y here. So you will get 16 times 16y divided by 16 is y. 48 divided by 16 is positive 3. And this is now a standard equation. X is being squared, positive on the right side, so the parabola opens upward. And h is negative 2. This is the h. And the k is negative 3. So that is on the third quadrant. Negative 2, negative 3, and the parabola opens upward. So for the c, you have 4c is equal to 16. This one. 4c is 16. So c is equal to 16 over 4. That is 4. So you need to move 4 units upward. So 4 units above negative 3 is negative 3 plus 4. That is 1. And you will have the same x coordinate, negative 2. So negative 2, 1 is the focus. And for the directrix, 4 units below negative 3. So that is negative 3 minus 4. So that is negative 7. So the equation of that line is y equals negative 7. For the axis of symmetry, that is x equals negative 2. Okay, for your practice, we have here 5 items. 3 are in standard form and 2 are in general form. So same, determine the focus, opening, a vertex, directrix, and axis of symmetry of the parabola, and then sketch the graph. Number 1, x squared equals negative 20y. So we have here vertex at 0, 0. Number 2, y squared equals 8 times x plus 2. Number 3, y plus 1 squared equals 4 times x plus 8. Number 4, x squared minus 4x minus 24y plus 28 equals 0. Number 5, y squared plus 12x plus 18y plus 69 equals 0. So, if you're not ready yet, you can pause the video. So for number 1, x squared equals negative 20y. So that opens downward with vertex at 0, 0. And c is 5. So focus is at 0, negative 5. And the directrix is y equals 5. And the axis of symmetry is the y-axis, x equals 0. You can check your work. Practice item number 2, we have y squared equals 8 times x plus 2. So y is being squared, positive on the right, so opens to the right. Vertex negative 2, 0. And c is 2, so focus is the origin, 0, 0. And directrix, x equals negative 4. And axis of symmetry, y equals 0. For number 3, y plus 1 squared equals 4 times x plus 8. So that opens to the right because y is squared and positive on the right side. Vertex negative 8, negative 1. So that's on the third quadrant. And then it opens to the right, so we have that one. So c is equal to 1, so the focus is 1 unit to the right of the vertex. So negative 8 plus 1, that's negative 7. And to the left, the coordinates of that is negative 7, negative 1, because you will have the same y coordinate. And then for the directrix, you will have negative 8 minus 1, that is negative 9. So x equals negative 9. And for the axis of symmetry, that is y equals negative 1. Number 4. So we need to do completing the square here. So x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals positive 24y minus 28 plus 4. That is x minus 2 squared plus 24 equals 24y minus 24. Factor out 24, you will get 24 times y minus 1. So h is 2, k is 1. So we have 2, 1. And since x is being squared and we have a positive here on the right, the parabola opens upward. So 2, 1 is on the first quadrant and opens upward. Okay, so for C, C is 6. So 6 units above 1 is 1 plus 6, that's 7. And we have the same x coordinates. So 2, 7. And for the directrix, 6 units below 1, that's 1 minus 6, is negative 5. So y equals negative 5. And the axis of symmetry is x equals positive 2. Number 5. Y squared plus 12x plus 18y plus 69 equals 0. Complete the square. You have to add half of 18 is 9. Squared is 81. So add 81 to both sides of the equation. You will get y plus 9 squared equals negative 12x plus 12. And then factor negative 12. You will get negative 12 times x minus 1. So y is being squared and we have a negative on the right side, so the parabola opens to the left with vertex at 1, negative 9. 1, negative 9 on the fourth quadrant, so we have there, opens to the left. And for the focus, we need to identify C. So for C is 12, C is 3. So 3 units to the left of positive 1. So that's 1 minus 3, so negative 2. So you have negative 2, negative 9. And then 3 units to the right of 1, that's 1 plus 3, so that is 4. So that is x equals 4, and the axis of symmetry is y equals negative 9. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Bye!